What's going on, everybody? It's Evil Eddie and Ted Czech. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA and ProWrestlingAuthority.com. That is Ted Czech. You're listening to Evil and Intoxicated, and we have a great episode set up for everybody.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I didn't unmute my mic, so I said it, and then I had to unmute it and re-say the intro again.
I was like, well, he's repeating himself. What's going on with this guy? He's going nuts.
That's funny.
He's losing it.
But if you guys are new to watching, you have no idea who this kid is or who that guy is, I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, ProWrestlingAuthority.com. That's Ted Czech. We come every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. to give everybody, we kind of meet up and share our ideas as MMA correspondents about the latest MMA news. And the most important part is you guys. Make sure you go into the live chat room and ask us any questions that you want. We do this every Wednesday at 10 p.m. sharp. And tonight, I'm proud to say we were sharp, huh, Ted?
I think we were pretty much sharp. Yeah, last weekend or last week was, there's some glitches and what have you. But, we had the show. The show went on. And but, yeah, today was like clockwork, Eddie. And I appreciate all of what you do, because you are the tech guy. I suck at anything technically related or whatever. So you're the man, and here we are with the show, and we got a lot to talk about, a lot to go over tonight, huh?
Yeah, definitely. We have a special guest on tonight. We set up an interview, and it's not really an interview because I don't like to call it that, because that's not what I'm really trying to do. I'm just trying to meet these fighters and
conversation.
We have Nick Newell on tonight, and I'm sure if you're an MMA fan, you know who that is. And he has a movie coming up, and the coolest part about it all, one of the coolest parts, is I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, and he's right here in West Haven, Connecticut, and Ted is actually the one who brought this up, found the movie. Ted, how did you come about finding this, and what made you interested to ask him to come on our show?
Well, yeah, I was on Twitter, and he's got his own Twitter, but then he's got this Notorious Nick Newell movie Twitter
movie
as well. Yeah, he's got a movie. I'm like, what's going on? What is this movie thing? So, started doing a little bit more investigating, and, sure enough, they have a Indiegogo account. I guess that means they're trying to raise some funds for this movie, but, so I was very interested. I mean, I remember...
And I don't think it's so much of raising funds as it is to them giving back to what you're giving in. And we'll ask him a little more about that. I mean, we were kind of discussing... Like, I think it's like if you make a $50 donation, like you were saying last night, they'll send you an autographed shirt or something like that. So interested to pick his head about that, because he has such an inspiring story. And,
for those who don't remember, he's the one-armed fighter. Basically, from birth, he was born without a hand and a wrist. His arm ended at he had about a third of a forearm. And that was it on one arm. So he was basically known as the one-armed fighter, and was incredibly successful, despite that handicap. I mean, I believe he went like 11-1 or 13-1, I think.
And he actually, ended up winning the belt. So I'm very excited to talk with him. That's going to be at 10:40 sharp.
Right.
So that's very exciting. And also, what else are we going to warm up? We're going to give everybody a quick preview of the show. But Holly Holm is fighting Shevchenko in 4 days?
Yeah, it's coming up again. I just love it, man. And, we got through fight week, and then we had another card, and now we've got this one. So we have the UFC to thank for that. And so we'll be going over the 4 fights on the main card of Holm versus Shevchenko.
And also, we're going to be doing the 5-minute rounds. That's going to be starting in about a minute. We're going to be talking about Cyborg. We're going to be talking about Brock Lesnar, the Risen 16-man tournament, and I'm totally ready for this. And the round begins now. The first subject, Ted, what is the first subject that you got?
First subject is Cyborg's injury. Evangelista Cyborg Santos fought Michael Venom Page at Bellator 158 in England. And everybody pretty much knows what happened there, the horrific injury that Cyborg sustained.
And everybody can see it right up here to the box. That's his x-ray, guys. That's actually his skull that is dented.
Oh, man. I mean, as skillful as it was, as amazing as it was, you could call it poetry in motion. You can be impressed with it, but on the other hand, I called it horrific as well, because of the dent, the injury that he sustained to his forehead. I mean, that's just I don't know that I've ever seen I hate to talk in superlatives. I don't know if I've ever seen an injury like that.
Well, and in case nobody knows what we're even talking about, Ted, what happened was at Bellator 158 this weekend, last weekend, MVP Michael Venom Page, who's one of the most exciting fighters that they have on that roster, without a doubt, was going up against Cyborg, who recently fought here in Connecticut and put on a great performance. So here it was, MVP. First round, it went back and forth. He found himself on his back. The second round kicked off, and MVP has such a unique style. And he has one of the most impressive highlight reels. He lines it up, hits him with the flying knee, and then throws a Pokeball at Cyborg to end it off because of the whole Pokemon Go thing.
Gets a thumbs down from me. I mean, look, I know he had it all planned out. He knew, he had a feeling that he was going to win. He knew he was going to win. And so he figured, okay, once I do win, once I put him out, I'm going to roll the Pokeball and put the hat on and pander to this silly game. But I just thought it was in poor taste because you've got Cyborg writhing in pain, holding his head. I mean, clearly the guy was in an incredible amount of pain.
Well, I don't think he really realized, what had really happened. But when I was listening to the replay, you can hear him go like, "Oh!" Like it went through me. That crack. It was like, wow. And I think it was just because he'd already planned it out, so it was already in his head that, if I win the fight, this is what I'm going to do. He probably paid a little money for it.
Maybe. I know.
But he did also apologize, Ted.
He did?
He did apologize. He released a statement, and he actually opened up a GoFundMe for Cyborg, and he made the very first donation on the GoFundMe.
I think he started that. You think he started the GoFundMe? I thought
Chris, did Chris start it?
His ex-wife.
That's right. You're right, Ted. You're right.
I don't know if she even started it, but she at least put it on her Instagram. His ex-wife, Cyborg Justino. Chris Johns.
He made one of the first donations into it when he released a statement about, I didn't mean to do that.
Props to him for that. That's great. And look, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. And I mean, Tito Ortiz used to do the gravedigger thing. Yeah. A lot of people didn't like that. John Jones, after he choked out Lyoto Machida, had to be reminded. Greg Jackson had to tell him, go over and see how he's doing. Get some fans. People will like you if you go over and check on him. So I get that. I just thought it was a little bit ridiculous,
So to talk about Cyborg, man, is this the end of it? Because he's saying that he wants to fight in like 3 months.
Right. That's just insane. I mean, I'm not one to say whether somebody should retire or not. That's up to them and their doctors and their coaches and all that kind of stuff. But wow, I just I really hope he gets himself checked out thoroughly.
Yeah, me too.
Because it looks bad. It's just I'm not a medical expert. You're not. But just to look at it, you're like, my God, there's a crater in this man's head.
Yeah.
That's a cause for concern. But the other good thing is that Bellator is picking up the tab for all of his medical bills. That's great.
And another thing I want to point out before this subject is over is that I am so happy that they released a statement as well, because the whole Dada 5000 thing, it was kind of hard to get out like how he was doing, how he was making out. I know that Chris kind of was there reporting it, but I'm just happy that they let us know what was going on with him. And, if you guys don't think like, oh, this guy's a fighter and why does he need my money? This is a fighter who, they don't make as much money as you guys think they make. And, it's a fighter, but it's a father, a son. He has to put food on the table. And, surgery is expensive. So, all right, subject number 2.
Subject number 2, John Jones. We found out not too long ago that the Nevada Athletic Commission, they released he had 2 different estrogen blockers. Those were the banned substances that were in his system when USADA conducted the test. So we found out about that, and did we talk about that before? I don't know, but the estrogen blockers, they did release that. That's what you take after you cycle off of your steroids. You take the estrogen blockers because the steroids are going to increase your estrogen, and you're going to get boobies. So then you take the estrogen blockers to pull the estrogen down. He also, let's see. So we know the names of the blockers. They're hard to pronounce.
And in case you guys don't know, Chael Sonnen was on Joe Rogan Experience and kind of broke it down for everybody. If you don't know what all this stuff is, definitely go check it out because he informed me of a lot.
Oh, okay. And then John Jones said that the supplement, he took his supplements and he sent them off to get them examined. I don't know what that's going to prove. I think that's kind of inconsequential or whatever. You know, that it's just symbolic. You know, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Yes, sir. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, nobody is going to accept that as evidence of any
You know, and
type.
OSP even made a statement as well this week.
Right. He did. He got on Facebook and he was like, "Hey, tell the truth. Tell the truth, John Jones."
Like, why not? And the reason why he's saying that is because it's like, dude, stop pretending you're this goody-goody. We like, if you just act yourself and own up to it. And that gets me into, kind of the breaking news this afternoon to Chad Mendes. He kind of owned up to it and was like, I'm going to take the punishment because I let you guys down. I'm going to take the punishment. Now he's out for 2 years. Jones might be out for 2 years. And Ariel made it a point of this, Ted, and I wanted to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Every time we found out about people getting busted for PED, failing their PED, it's been on a Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon. The Brock Lesnar, the John Bones. I mean, not this news, but the last two ones have been Friday afternoons.
Is that right? Okay. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I guess, but the thing that I noticed, the similarity with a lot of these guys. Now, you said Mendes owned up to it. That's unusual. What I usually find is that there's one excuse or another. That's you get the Frank Mir. Oh, it must have been the kangaroo
meat.
The kangaroo meat, or Overeem. Well, that's horse meat. I cycle horse meat, or it's tainted. This or like John Jones said. Oh, I think it's my supplements were tainted.
It's my asthma inhaler.
Yeah, it's one excuse after another. Just own up to, as OSP said, tell the truth. Tell the truth, own up to it, be a man, and say, you know what, I made a mistake. People have such difficulty doing that. I made a mistake. I'm owning up to it. I'm going to serve my punishment. I'm sorry. No,
So if you're John Bones Jones, what do you do? In these 2 years, you're John Bones Jones, what do you do?
I don't know. What can he do? I mean, I don't know if he... I thought maybe he wouldn't be able to even train at Jackson Winklejohn, but he might be able to do that. But that's a hell of a holding pattern to be in for 2 years. I don't know, man. He's probably just going to be attempting in any way he can to prove his innocence.
And guys, on Twitter, you can find me and Ted on there if you want to talk with us outside of the show. Or you can find me at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. You can find Ted at TEDCzech. That's not CHECH. That's CZECH. So
That's
definitely
right.
check us out on there. I've been running polls lately. We'll get into that in a little bit. In other relatable news, Brock Lesnar is the next subject, correct?
Right, and Ann Hill is saying over here on our chat, Brock won't ever tell the truth. And I just saw this clip again. I've seen it. I saw it several years ago, but in 2008, he was being interviewed. It was a TV interview. I forget what media outlet it was for, but the interviewer brought up steroids, and Brock just took off his microphone and walked out. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a lot of people talk about it. So I think I'd have to agree with Ann. I don't think Brock would ever do that. Would ever tell the truth about it, no matter what evidence he's facing. We know right before UFC 200, he says, "Hey, I'm a white boy and I'm jacked. Deal with it."
Yeah.
Implying that he's natural. And
he never failed for a test before, I'm pretty sure.
No, he never did. Oh, and here's the other thing about that. It's the same. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's the same type of substance that John Jones used. It was an estrogen blocker.
Estrogen blocker, yep.
Yep. Another one.
Mark Hunt is now saying, I want that whole purse or I'm walking out of the UFC. And I'm so happy, or he wants half. I'm so happy that he's speaking up, and now he wants to start a fighter, what is he trying to do?
Fighters Union.
Fighters Union.
So he wants half of the 2.5. So he wants 1.25 million. Or he walks. He claims he's gonna just leave the UFC. I don't know how many fights he's got left on his contract or whatever. But we're talking about somebody who is incredibly pissed off, and rightfully so.
This happened to him in the Mark Hunt fight. This has happened to him in the Bigfoot fight, and now in the Brock fight. That's
you said
three
the Mark
fights
Hunt
back to back to back.
Well, okay, the Bigfoot fight,
Bigfoot failed for.
right? And who
Mark
else?
Hunt.
Well, he is Mark
I
Hunt.
mean, Frank Mir. Wow, wow.
That's
I
all
keep
right,
saying
man.
Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt fought Mark Hunt.
I always, dude. This is not the first time I've said that too.
That's
Frank
man.
Mir.
The Frank Mir fight, and
Frank
so
Mir,
it's a
got busted, and now Brock.
his past 3 opponents have been on the juice.
So he has that argument going for him. So if you say, there's other fighters out there that this has happened to, but yeah, has it happened 3 times in a row?
Wrong guy to piss off. I mean, oh my God. So he's livid, and he's like, you know what? We need a fight union, and I'm just the guy to do it. And it's been talked about for many years, and I really hope, Mark Hunt is not just talking. I hope he actually does something, because it's something that I would support. Look at who was it? T.J. Dillashaw just said not too long ago, well, UFC treats us like employees, but we're not employees, we're subcontractors.
Yeah, he just said that last week.
Yeah, they put all these requirements on us, but then they don't pay our medical bills. So are we employees or are we not employees? And he makes a great point. So I think if everybody banded together, they could do it. I mean,
now's the time to do it, man. You got new owners in there. Now's the time to do it.
Check it out. I mean, what if every single one of those fighters, there's about 500 fighters in the UFC, what if they all walked at the same time? There'd be no UFC. They would bring it to its knees. So, the UFC would listen.
Because they're putting people's lives in danger, So
Yeah.
we want to know what you guys think about this. This is about us to get our voices heard. What do you guys think about everything that me and Ted are talking about? Connect in the chat room. Connect on Twitter, on Facebook. Ted has his show he does every week. Risen, Ted. Risen 16-man tournament. Are you excited or what about this?
I'm excited. You say risen, I say rising, potato, tomato.
Yeah.
But who cares how you pronounce it? R-I-Z-I-N. It's the new Pride. It's Pride 2.0. Pride never die. We all loved the way that they did their Grand Prix tournaments, something that the UFC has never been.
And explain that to everybody who's not, familiar with what we're even talking about.
Sure, a Grand Prix is a tournament that is held over a period of time. So, for example, this one's going to be a 16-man open weight tournament. That means a 185-pound guy can fight a 250-pound guy, can fight a 205-pound guy. It's an open weight, all right, and it's 16 guys, and it's the first round starts, I believe, in October, if I'm not mistaken. But
November, I thought it starts in November.
Maybe it's early November, but then the second round is November 29th, and then the finals are on New Year's Eve. No, wait.
I think you're right.
Okay, the finals are definitely on New Year's Eve. So it's spread out over several months. It's a 16-man tournament. We know that Wanderlei Silva is involved. We know that Mirko Krokop is also a fighter on the in that stable. The UFC actually released him from his contract, which I'm kind of baffled by. But maybe they just thought, so what? He's old and whatever. I don't know. But everybody in Japan loves Krokop. I love Krokop. He's still got some fights left in him. So I'm glad that he's involved in this. And then I've heard talk that maybe Quentin Rampage Jackson, is going to be involved, and that's very interesting.
That would be cool.
You know that Wanderlei Silva and Krokop fought twice in Pride, and Silva also fought Rampage twice in Pride, and then once in the UFC. So he's rivals with both of those guys. So he could end up fighting them in this tournament very easily.
That would be awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited about this. And what was some of their last fights? They had Fedor over there. Is he still fighting with them or what?
I think he's signed with them, but then his last fight he had was in Mother Russia.
Yeah.
He that was a deal that he worked out with them. He said, "Hey, I want my next fight to be in my homeland," but I think he is still signed with Ryzen.
So is there a chance for him to be fighting in that tournament or no?
Possibly in that tournament. Yeah, that's you bring up a very good point, Eddie. I'd never even thought of that. We could see Fedor in that tournament. We could also see several Bellator fighters in that tournament because of the close relationship between Bellator and Ryzen. So we could see a really packed tournament, a tournament, chock full of well-known, skilled fighters.
I think that's what they need, man. And that's going to be on UFC Fight Pass, right? Is Risen on Fight Pass, or are they just doing it on Spike?
I think. Well, the last Ryzen thing they did, I think,
it was Breakfast with Fedor on Spike.
But that was
New Year's Eve.
Fedor's fight in Russia was on Fight Pass, but I don't think there's ever been any Ryzen fights on Fight Pass, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to stick with Spike.
Well,
that.
If you guys do have Fight Pass, don't worry, because they have a fight coming up this Friday, so you have that to look forward to. It's going to be the U.S. Armed Forces, Ted, the U.S. Navy versus the U.S. Air Force, and I just got to talk with the title challenger, Roger the Titan Corbin. That is on the videos down below, so make sure to subscribe and come back, check in with us every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Me and Ted discuss, and this is about you guys. Once again, if you guys have any questions, let us know. So, all right, last subject, Ted. Rory McDonald.
Rory Mac, that's right, the Red King.
Pros and cons of leaving UFC.
Well, first of all, we know that he has several suitors, so to speak. He's got Bellator. He's in talks with Bellator. He's in talks with ONE FC, which is, well, aside from Ryzen, it's the biggest fight promotion in Asia. So that's great. And we know that he wasn't exactly happy in the UFC, or at least he was interested in seeing what his free agency would bring him. So the plus side to, well, first of all, the plus side to leaving the UFC is you don't have to deal with Reebok. There's no Reebok out there, outside of the UFC, so you get to put whatever sponsors you can get on your shorts and on your pants.
I think it's like it adds a more professional look to it. I don't agree with what they're paying them. There are, pros and cons once again with that as well.
Right.
But you're definitely right with that point, man.
But then again, so you're left to solicit, whatever sponsors you can get. But I think pretty much, the base pay might be lower because you make it up with the sponsorships. But the UFC is the major leagues of MMA. They're the most well known. They're the biggest promotion out there. So you have to settle for maybe being a big fish in a small pond, so to speak. But I mean, I think Rory would have some good competition in Bellator with.
Well, here's my argument of the con of going to Bellator. I think they have a great roster, and I talked about this in my last webisode. I think they have a great roster over there, but what they're doing promotion-wise, like we had no idea about what they just did, the Dynamite. They didn't really promote that well, I didn't think. And they have a great roster of fighters, but there's so much more that they can be doing. And now last week with the whole Matt Mitrione MVP fight, they had the event there and didn't air it till an hour later. So everyone was retweeting and letting everyone know the updates was, of course, we're going to do that, if we're there. And it's up to them to broadcast that live, and it took away from the viewership. So, there are pros and cons of going there and staying with the UFC, of course.
Right, and look at a guy like Ben Askren. He was the champ in Bellator. He was going to make the jump to the UFC. The UFC said, buzz off, we don't want you. He goes over to ONE FC. He's the champ over there. He's a tremendous champion, but nobody talks about him over here. You know what I mean? He's just not getting the exposure like he would get in the UFC. So, that was something that he had to settle for. So it kind of would boil down to what Rory is willing to accept, like we've been saying, there's pros and cons.
He didn't lose his last fight that bad. If he got knocked out and, he didn't get knocked out. He went up against Stephen Thompson, who's a hard person to beat. You know what I mean? It was a great fight. It was a chess match, like everyone said.
Oh my God! I mean, Rory is young. He's what, 26, I think.
He's still really young, and dude, he's one of the best out there, without a doubt.
Yeah. So he is a known commodity, and he's worth a lot. So hopefully he knows his worth. You know what I mean? Like every fighter has to have an idea of what they're worth, and stick with that in negotiations.
All right, I think that's a perfect way to wrap up five-minute rounds. That was a good one, Ted.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got upcoming fights this weekend. Holly Holm versus Shevchenko. And we also have fan questions. We want to know, what is your favorite fight so far this year?
There we go.
And we came up with a couple ourselves, but we want to know what you guys think. So we're going to be holding this poll on Twitter and on Facebook. So you can type in @evil_echo. You can find it there, and you will be able to pick your favorite fight. And if I missed one or if Ted missed one, let us know, and we'll add it in there and take recognition. Ted, what are you thinking about fights? I'll shoot one out first.
Yeah.
The Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit fight that happened this January. What do you got?
Oh, that's a very good one. I've got that on my list as well. I've also got Holloway versus Lamas.
That's a good one. Were they both pointed to the middle of the octagon?
Yeah, that's. I mean, prior to that, it was just a back and forth battle, technical, but yet still thrilling, and very aggressive. And then at the end there, Holloway going like this, and Lamas obliging him, and it's just bang, 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 rock 'em, sock 'em for the last about 10 seconds.
I think I got one that's gonna one up that though.
All right, man, let's have it.
All right, I'm moving my piece. Ready? Cody Nola versus Thomas Almeida. Remember that one?
Yes, sir.
How about that?
All right.
That's definitely worthy of being on that list somewhere.
Yeah, man. What about Steve Bossy versus Sean O'Connell? Now, not a very technical fight, but just absolutely exciting to the hilt. You know, just a knockdown, drag out war. For those who like that, you know, like the Just Bleed people out there, you know who you are.
What is what is the chat room saying down there, Ted?
Geez, I put it out there. While Ann was talking about, I think UFC fighters should get punished if they fail their drug tests. It's cheating, but she's absolutely right. Just to get back to that for a second, but we don't have any. But I also had Holm versus Tate.
That's a good one. What about Bisping versus Rockhold?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, there's so many. We've had so many good fights.
Let's keep pumping them out. Let's see what we can get.
Well, I mean, geez, I'm at the end of my list, but
Dominic Cruz versus T.J. Dillashaw, wasn't that this year or was that last year?
No, that was this year because Cruz just took the title. Dillashaw wants it back and says he's ready for it.
What about Bisping versus Silva?
Oh man, wow, what a fight! I like that one a lot. I mean, just because of just that unpredictable part where, you know, he got kneed in the face, you know, he dropped his mouthpiece, that whole controversy.
Wait, I got another one that everyone is forgetting about. What about Stefan Struve versus Bigfoot when he knocked him out in 11 seconds? Everyone forget about that fight?
I temporarily did. I got to be honest.
Me too.
but and Anne's saying, oh, Bisping versus Rockhold, that's hers. She likes that one the best.
Well, Anne's a big Cowboy fan. Huge Cowboy fan.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you know, you can have a favorite fight like that one that lasts 11 seconds, and you know, or you can have a 5-round war be your favorite fight. You know, it takes all kinds, as they say.
Yeah, those are all good ones. Even Stephen Thompson versus Johnny Hendricks. That was another good one.
Yep.
This past weekend at UFC 200. I thought the Eddie Alvarez versus RDA is definitely a great one to put on that list, but no one's really celebrating Eddie Alvarez winning that belt over there. I thought this would be a bigger celebration. I thought he would get a parade and all this. We're not really seeing much.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait. I mean,
Amanda Nunes, Miesha Tate. Yes, definitely, Pat.
Yeah. Well, Eddie's from Philadelphia, and we know next week they're going to be busy with the Democratic National Convention. So unless they've already had a parade for Eddie, maybe they'll have to table it. But I'm sure they were celebrating in Philly. Yeah, that's a fight town right there. That's a major fight town.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got Las Vegas on the West Coast, Philly on the East Coast, Philly and Atlantic City on the East Coast. So
let us know what you guys think. You know, let us know in the chat room next weekend. We're always doing this every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Evil and Intoxicated. Make sure to subscribe down below. Always setting reminders. And follow us on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. You'll be able to find all these polls for everybody. And we'll be discussing about it on every week. Follow Ted at Ted Czech. That's not CHECH. That's CZECH. So, all right.
Wait. Eddie, real quick, where can people vote on the poll for their fight of the year so far?
On Twitter at evil_echo.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the screen right now. You guys can see my page Follow me on Twitter. There's my tag right there. Like us on Facebook for fairy updates. For fairy updates. No. This isn't sci-fi. For MMA updates. And subscribe on iTunes, guys. I have my own podcast on iTunes. That's the mothership of it all. I keep everyone up to date on all MMA news. Whether you're on your drive to work, your morning commute, whether you're laying out tanning. I know some of the people that listen to the show, they get back to me say, thanks for. I try to keep everyone at the edge of their seat, So shout out to Leslie, shout out to Ann, shout out to Yusuf, everyone who's a fan of the show. Like us on iTunes, subscribe to Ted's page. He's always keeping everyone up to date. All right, the fights this weekend, Ted. Holly Holm versus Shevchenko. I just met Shevchenko's younger sister at Lion Fights. What do you think about this matchup, man? I think this is a good one.
Woo! It absolutely is. It is. First of all, I have to say real quick, I hate the fight poster. Somebody was arguing with me on YouTube because I made a video about the fight poster. If you look at it,
pull it up.
You got Holm and Shevchenko. I should have told you about this before. Sorry.
I think I have it on the screen pulled up right now.
Holm and Shevchenko with the skyline of Chicago on their backs like Godzilla.
That's on here.
So
before we talk about Holly Holm versus Shevchenko, there's a couple other interesting matchups on this card. There's Felice Herrig versus Kalen Curran. Look, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Are they going to have a twerk off first? Because there was.
You saw that video too?
Yeah, the wall twerking. That it was Felice and her buddy there. The former champ. What the heck is her name? Carla Esparza, and then one other girl.
Yeah, Carla Esparza was all the way over here. Felice in the middle, and then someone else. I'm pretty sure that's the order it was.
Whoever their buddy who was showing them how to do it.
Dude, I shared that tweet, but I didn't watch it, so I couldn't get yelled at. And then my girlfriend's like, "Oh, did you see that twerking video?" I was like, I shared it, but I was too afraid to watch it. But now I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Hey, I think she gave you permission, so go for it, man. But yeah, Felice Herrig and Kalen Curran, that should be an intriguing fight. Felice coming off of that loss to Paige Van Zandt. And then Kalen Curran, her last fight was a win over Emily Kagan by submission. You know, the thing I noticed about Felice Herrig, she has 6 losses. She's 10-6. All of those losses by decision. She's never been knocked out, never been submitted. Wow. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but, she's an interesting fighter. Of course, she was on that season of Ultimate Fighter. Little Bulldog.
Yep.
Curran is 4-2, so I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. Let us know who you guys like in that. Also, Edson Barboza versus Gilbert Melendez is on that fight, and I'm having trouble making my pick here because I don't really know what to expect from Edson Barboza. How's he been looking to you, man? Because he hasn't really been doing it for me lately.
He's hot and cold. I took a look at that. You look at he lost to Michael Johnson by decision. Then he had a win over Paul Felder by decision. Then he lost to Tony Ferguson by submission. Then he won versus Pettis by decision. So he's like Oprah's weight. She's fat, she's thin. She's fat, she's thin. You know what I mean? So he's what would he be doing if his last one is a win? Okay, so is he due for a loss now? I mean, if you follow that, but I mean, he's always an exciting fighter, and you always have to watch out for him. He's a very dangerous striker. Giblert, on the other hand, as Reebok would call him.
Yeah, because they always mess up those fight kits.
Yeah, they call him Giblert. Giblert has 2 losses. He's coming off of 2 losses. Submission to Pettis, and then lost to Alvarez by split decision. So he's in need of a win. Wow. I mean, and I don't know. I'm going with Barboza on this one. I think he's going to get 2 wins in a row. Gilbert, has been in so many wars. He's been around for a long time. I just don't know if he can handle the striking of Barboza.
So is this a good matchup for Barboza, you think? This is a good, comfortable one for him?
I mean, it's not going to be easy, per se. I mean, Gilbert is always dangerous, but I think I see him coming away with a unanimous decision.
That's what I think. I could see that too.
3-round unanimous decision win for Barboza. I mean, Gilbert is a tough guy. I like the guy a lot. But I just don't think that he has what it takes anymore to beat somebody of Barboza's caliber, even though Barboza's kind of been struggling too. It's interesting.
All right, guys, if you're just tuning into the live stream, you're listening to Evil and Intoxicated with Evil Eddie and Ted Czech. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA and ProWrestlingAuthority.com. That's Ted Czech from Ted Czech, the YouTuber.
From everything.
Ted Czech.
From YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. And
you're a pretty well-known YouTuber, man. Like I'm telling you, you're pretty well-known.
You think?
And it's always a pleasure doing the show, man. I always look forward to this.
Oh yeah, man. This is great right here. We got something going.
And of course, guys, it is 10:36 here in the East Coast, so that means in 4 minutes we have special guest fighter Nick Newell coming on. We're gonna be giving him a call in just seconds. So let's wrap this up. The fights are in a couple days. Holly Holm main event versus Shevchenko.
Yeah, this is going to be a great fight. I mean, I was just looking at some tape on Valentina Shevchenko.
Dude, she's no joke, man. No joke.
No joke. I mean, 61-2 kickboxing record.
Her whole family, they were all raised in Muay Thai. Her sister is now champ over at Lion Fights.
So fast. I mean, just so fast. Her reflexes and you know the when you hear her hit and kick, it's like that. Boom.
You know, Holly's no joke either, man. So
no, absolutely
this is going to be an interesting fight. I kind of see it going to decision. I think they're both going to have enough respect for each other, and you know, hang on the outside. And I can't see Holly losing, but I'm going for the upset here, guys. I'm going for the upset.
I might have to go with you on that one because Shevchenko also has a black belt in judo. So if there's any clinches, you know,
watch out.
Watch out. She's gonna be taking that to the ground. And more than likely ending up on top. So Holly has her hands full here. And, I mean, I have great respect for both of these fighters. But, yeah, I think I'm picking Shevchenko with the upset, right? Because Holly...
I know that a lot of people don't like MMA math, but if you do look at the MMA math and you look for, like, you know, significant strikes, accuracy, Shevchenko has better accuracy. Holly Holm has 35.3 compared to Shevchenko's 54.05. And I know a lot of people don't like going by that, but sometimes it helps to look at, you know, break things down because we haven't seen all their fights, you know.
Right. I don't know that they've ever... Have they fought anybody, you know, the same fighters? I don't know.
So, but that's definitely going to be a great fight, man. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But like I said, I think it's going to go to decision. How do you think it's going to end? Decision
for Shevchenko.
Ooh, so, bro, yeah. I think me and you are the only ones I've heard lately saying this. And we might get some lip for it, man. We might get some lip, but, you know, that's what it's all about, man. This is a sport, and some people forget that. You don't need to get personal. We're all free to our opinions about who we want to win. And that's it's just the way the sports goes.
So, some guy today on YouTube was saying, why do you ask people what we think? Because I always say in my videos, let me know your thoughts. And this guy's like, what do you mean let you know our thoughts? I said, because I'm doing a video and this is MMA. Everybody has an opinion. You're never going to find an MMA fan who's devoid of opinion.
Dude, and everyone that I've met so far that loves MMA has been awesome. Like some of the most interesting people, but there are trolls out there. And I think our guest coming up next is a perfect guest for this show. He has a movie coming up. He's been through struggles in life. And he never let anyone tell him no or what to do. I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be in about 30 seconds. I'm going to be giving him a call. So me and Ted, every Wednesday, 10 p.m., open chat rooms. Looking forward to seeing what you guys think of what fight of the year is. I think we gave everyone a pretty good list off of some fights this year. And I was even surprised that I forgot a few of those.
Oh, and here Minion's saying Shevchenko has a lot of submissions on her record as well, but he thinks it'll be a decision as well. He doesn't know which way. He hasn't gone decision for Holly or decision for Shevchenko. Interesting.
All right, let me see. I'm going to add Nick to the call. So, what do you think was fight of the year so far, Ted?
Jeez, man. I mean...
Here, I'm trying to get him in here. He's just got to accept my request. So what do you think it's going to be?
Any of those, but, I mean, if you also wanted to factor in, you know, whether a fight was for a title or not, then you might have to go with Lawler versus Condit. You know, because it was for Lawler's title.
That was the very first fight of the year.
Yeah, so, you know, you might... Well, for some people out there really like Dominic Cruz. I personally am not a real huge fan of the way that he fights. I'm more of a TJ Dillashaw kind of guy. You know, Killishaw. You know what I'm saying? Dillashaw. That's right. But and people got on my case about that. Oh, you don't like Cruz? What do you mean? You know, he's so skilled and everything. I said, okay, yeah, I get it. He's skilled. It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. What can I say? You know, some people like it, some people don't. I don't really care for it.
Ted, I'm gonna bring everybody with me. I gotta call Nick. It's not saying he's online yet, so I sent him a contact request, waiting for him to press OK. That should be any second. So you think Lawler versus Condit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if everything else was equal, then the way I look at it is, well, that was for a title, so the stakes were higher. So, you know, that I guess could get my vote. I mean, any of those, you know, all the ones that we were throwing out are worthy. But if somebody were to hold a gun to my head and say, pick one, that would be the you know, the deciding factor for me was, okay, well, that was one of the ones that was for a title. You know, Cruz versus Dillashaw was for a title as well, and that was one that you mentioned. But yeah, I guess I would have to go with Lawler versus Condit.
All right, let me bring everybody with me for a second to give Nick a call. And then I'm going to tell him to add the contacts and stay right there, Ted. All right, let's give Nick a call. Oh, he's not picking up. Hold on, everybody. Let's see what's going on. I think he's got to accept my call. So let's get Ted back in here. Ted.
Yes.
All right, still waiting on Nick to accept the request.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be happening any second, hopefully. My hands are so sweaty, dude. How was your week, man? I'm like sweating, dripping sweat. Last time I said it was because I got out of the shower. This time I'm literally shiny because I'm sweating my head off.
Yeah, man. We're supposed to be getting this. You're on the East Coast, so am I. We're supposed to be getting this heat dome. They're not even calling it a heat wave anymore. It's like, if you can imagine, you know, it's an imaginary dome that's going to settle on, I guess, the East Coast. So we're going to be. Yeah, we're going to be hitting close to 100, I think. So I've got a big plastic bin, and I'm going to buy like 3 or 4 bags of ice, and then ice and water, and just jump in it.
That's great.
I'm doing this weekend, man.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, but I mean, I'm the week has been great. I'm a newspaper reporter, and so I cover crime. So
what did you cover this week on your channel?
On my channel, I did just today. I haven't even put these videos up yet, but they have been recorded. Chad Money Mendez suspended for 2 years, and because of his drug violation. The Brock Lesnar thing as well, about the estrogen blockers. I did a little video on that. The one that has been huge is the Cyborg video. Because I showed people, here's the picture of Cyborg, you know, the one that his ex-wife put up on Instagram, and then a picture of the flying knee, and then I was critical of Michael Page for his Pokemon Go celebration, and I think that's why I've been getting so many downvotes. I haven't been able to get to the bottom of it. I even put a little comment. I said, "Why is everybody giving me downvotes? Why?" I mean, I don't care, really. I'm curious. As long as people are watching the video, I really don't care whether they upvote or downvote. But I just wanted to know. I'm like, why? You know, and so it's sparked a lot of conversation. So that's another video that's doing well.
It's saying that he was on 56 seconds ago. So I'm going to try to give him a call one more time, Ted.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. Come on. Nicky boy. All right, let's get back over to Ted. Try him again in 1 second, everybody. We just got to wait for him to accept the request. I talked to his PR. His PR told me everything. I got his name up here on Skype. Said he was active a second ago, Ted. So I'm just going to sit patiently and wait for him to respond to the request.
Okay, so he knows you're trying to reach him.
Yeah, he knows I'm trying to reach him.
Okay.
It is now 10:45. I sent him my request. So
we're talking about Notorious Nick Newell, who replied.
Yeah, introduce him to everyone before we bring him on. How you found him and whatnot.
Yeah. Notorious Nick Newell, the one-armed fighter. For those who aren't familiar with him, he retired last year with a record of 13-1
from World Series of Fighting.
Right. That was the last promotion he was in. He fought Justin Gaethje for the title, for the lightweight title at WSOF, lost, and then went on and fought a couple more times and won those fights. So he ended his career at 13-1. Absolutely amazing. So inspirational. He was born. He has what's called a congenital amputation, which congenital means from birth. So from birth, it came out of the womb with his arm missing right about here. So he's got about a third of his forearm, and it's not really a hand, but he was able to use that to his advantage. He was able to slap on a nasty guillotine with that arm, and just absolutely amazing that the guy was so successful in the cage. He was the XFC lightweight champion, and then went on to made the jump to the WSOF, where he fought there, and like I said, he only lost one fight, and that was to Justin Gaethje, who's the champ and is still the champ.
And I actually just talked to him, man. I just talked to Justin Gaethje at the last World Series of Fighting event.
I like that guy.
Man. He's supposed to be fighting Jason High next, apparently.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. But yeah, I like Gaethje. He's a good guy, it seems. I mean, just absolutely aggressive in the cage, and yeah, it seems like a cool guy.
All right, let me try to give Nick a call one more time, Ted.
Yeah, man.
See what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I talked to his PR, set everything up. We got his name right here. Supposed to be scheduled for 10:40 p.m. Eastern time. Let's give him a call. And he keeps denying me. Let's try audio. Nope, not audio. One more time. No, I'm getting like blocked or something. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like denying my call. I don't know.
So Notorious Nick Newell.
He's inspired people around the world. There's a person training down in Philadelphia who's like one of Nick's biggest fans. His name's Julio Savita. Huge inspiration, and he also has the same
condition.
The same condition that Nick has.
Oh, wow.
He's a huge fan. He trains out in Philadelphia, so I'm sure he'll be watching this. So very excited to have Nick on in a couple seconds. And of course, Doomsday Howard just came out, and he was diagnosed as autistic and was talking with me. I have that interview in my profile below about things that he had to go through in life. Everyone telling him that he couldn't do things and never was able to find out, what was wrong with him. And he's one of the best fighters out there,
Mm-hmm.
So definitely check that out.
Yeah, so back to Nick. I mean, he's got this movie. We don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm very excited about it. Obviously, it's a like a biopic. It's about his life, and I just was reading a little bit about him. He got into wrestling, I think, in high school, and he wanted to quit. And if we get him on, I'm going to ask him about this, because it sounds like his mom was a very important person.
Yeah, yep. He was going to drop out of high school, and she was like, nope.
Or wrestling. He was going to quit
wrestling. I'm sorry.
He was having a rough time with on the mats. I mean, obviously, probably not, obviously now he's very used to working with, his appendage, but probably in the beginning he had a difficult time of it, and I'd like to ask him that too. But she said, no, you're not going to quit. And encouraged him to stick with it, and I'm sure he is happy that he did, because look at where it got him, and wow, what great career. And so now he
became XFC champion as well. That was on Access TV. Standing ovation. He suplexed the dude, Eric Reynolds, and won by rear naked choke, and won the belt. And his reaction after he won was unbelievable. Everybody stood up. That was in Nashville. And then Nick's friend Abby, the way his career started, his friend Abby passed away, and XFC gave Nick Abby's contract to fight in his honor, and that's how he was signed over with them. Of course, after World Series of 24, he retired, but he's a huge fan of like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, and of course I was too. That was huge over here in New England. I don't know about the West Coast, but Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and now he has his own movie coming out. I can't wait for him to come on here, man. And like I said, he's seen as an inspiration to people across the planet, man.
Yeah. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. I'm so old. I remember when it was just comic books.
Yeah.
I had the comic book where Casey Jones made his debut. He was fighting Raphael, and so Casey Jones was my favorite character, man. The way he would put on the hockey mask and he had all his weapons in his backpack, and he'd just be out there, vigilante, just crushing crooks. It was awesome. But back to Nick's movie, I don't know exactly what it's about. I'm sure it's going to be, about his life and everything like that, and hopefully his fight career. The picture that they have on his Twitter, there's a dude there. You see a dude's face. I'm wondering
if looks just like him.
I'm wondering if that's Nick. If Nick is actually starring in his own movie, like you and I were talking. I think it was last night. Like Howard Stern starred in the movie about his life, Private Parts.
Because I love that movie.
Yeah, Howard Stern's like, hey, nobody can play me like me. Maybe Nick is the same way. Maybe Nick's like, hey, who better to play Nick Newell than Nick Newell? I don't know. That's another question I got to ask the guy.
And also they have that what is it called? Not GoFundMe. It's called a Go-Go. Indiegogo. And if you guys are tuning in late, I'm Yvlety from Pure Evil MMA, ProWrestling30.com. That's Ted Check. We are trying to get Nick Newell on the line right now.
Nick, answer your phone.
Nick, just answer your phone, Nick. Just answer your phone.
For God's sake, pick up your phone, man.
But anyways, guys, thank you for joining us this week again. Another Wednesday night has been so much fun, and I'm very excited about the fights coming up.
Oh, hey, by the way, Minion is saying recent fight of the year outsider entries. So things
outside of UFC.
I think he means like sleeper fights, fights that we haven't considered and maybe others haven't. Juban versus Muhammad.
Alan Juban, yeah.
Juban, excuse me. Pardon me.
Well, I don't even know how to pronounce it the right way.
What did I say? Juban.
I think you might be right. I don't know.
Juban. No, I think you're right. Juban versus Muhammad. Smolka versus Wynn. And Ferguson versus Venata.
Well, those are all three that just happened last week.
Yeah.
The Venata one, but that was nuts, man.
Oh, dude, Smolka versus Wynn. I think we talked about this.
They were rolling around.
What a grappling war that was. What a clinic.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. And I talked to Monica Franco, who trains with Smolka down there in Hawaii.
Who did you talk to?
We talked to Monica Franco. She came on for the Dana White quote game. Remember?
Yeah, no, I remember. I just didn't know that she trained with Smolka. Okay.
Yeah, down there they all it's Hawaii, man. They're all know each other. All the fighters.
Yeah, it's a small world,
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So Minion's got some good ones there. For sure.
Dude, what about the Black Beast, man? He's been making some big fights this year.
Yeah, I mean, he did want the who did he want? The winner of Lesnar and Hunt. I mean, of course, now that's I wouldn't mind seeing
Roy Nelson. He wanted to rematch Roy Nelson because I think he said that because the fans were booing.
I think he needs to get beyond that and just go after somebody else. That's what I would do. And I think a fight with Hunt would be great. I mean, it'd be amazing. Two big.
Dude,
big ass strike.
Fight with Roy Nelson look easy, man. And of course, Roy has that legendary chin of his. But
yeah.
Even on the ground, dude, he was just getting right up, like nothing. He was pushing him up, and he was just like looking around like nothing.
I don't know what's going on with Roy Nelson, man. That guy, it seems to have lost his mojo. And I wish
one of the most underpaid fighters as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what's going on with the dude though. He just seems to not have it anymore, like he lost the fire.
So what does he do now? What's Roy supposed to do now? Now he lost to Derek Lewis. Do they set that rematch up? What
no, I mean, jeez, I don't know. He's kind of a gatekeeper. I mean, look, so Derek Lewis got past him. So Lewis, we can kind of say, oh well, he's ready to step up.
Dude, there's going to be some exciting matchups for him, man. I'm excited.
Right.
And he just did an interview this weekend with Ariel, dude. He owns a beauty salon. Weird news in MMA?
Hey, there you go. I mean,
Freedom MMA.
right? Geez, I mean, I guess there's money in it. So who can fault the guy? You know what I mean?
So guys, I don't know what's going on with Nick. I just messaged his PR and waiting for them. They're always been really good with getting back to me. So we're gonna find out what's going on in just a second. I'm at the edge of my seat. I cannot wait for this. Sorry about the inconvenience, but you know what? It's really not an inconvenience because we have so much MMA to talk about.
Right. Now, Eddie, I just got to ask you one kind of programming thing. The person that you just messaged, that wasn't Heather, was it?
No, there's a new person.
Right.
Heather is on
I want
vacation.
to make sure you knew about that.
Yeah, Heather is on vacation.
Right.
There's a new PR person, and they've been great. So we're gonna wait it out and see what happens because I don't want to just end the show.
He's got this whole public relations team working for him.
I'm not throwing in the towel yet, guys. I am sweating though.
Sweaty Eddie.
Sweaty Eddie.
Yeah. So, geez, I mean, I want to talk about this movie. There's another one that's coming out in the fall. Vinny Pazienza. We talked about this a little bit. Bleed for this.
And did you talk to them yet?
We were going back and forth on email. So I have to revisit.
I'll talk to Xena. We talked about that.
Yeah, I got to revisit that. But I would love to have, and it sounded like they were interested in having Vinny Pazienza, former boxing champion, who is being played by Miles Teller.
Perfect.
In the movie, which comes out in the fall. Bleed for this. I was there at the Providence Civic Center in Rhode Island when Vinny Pazienza won the title from Greg Haugen. I saw that live, and that was just an amazing fight. And Pazienza, one of the greatest showmen in boxing. You know, obviously people think of Ali, and I think what's that guy's name, Prince Nassim, but Pazienza ranks right up there. You know, when he was in the ring, he'd come in. We had like the frilly shorts, and he would be throwing the bolo, you know, like that. And you know, he was just. And of course, when he came back from that crash, he got into a car wreck, broke his neck. They put him in a halo, you know, where they screw it into your head, and then he, like, I don't know what it was, like a week later, he's there like working out in the gym and stuff with this halo on. The guy was insane.
Also, man, the Triple X movie. I just saw the trailer for that. Bisping's gonna be in that, so. Looking forward to that. It looks badass.
Triple
X with Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Okay. Yeah, Bisping. I did a video a couple of years ago. Bisping was in some other movie, some English movie. I was watching the trailer. It was like a gangster movie. I was watching the trailer. I can't remember the name of it, but I was watching the trailer, and then I froze it, and boom, there's Bisping's face.
No way.
He played like some thug, you know. So I did a video. So it sounds like he's getting some work.
Dude, he's like the perfect voice, too, to be an actor, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he looks even more thuggish, you know, now that his eyes all like this.
Yeah, yep.
So,
is that going to get fixed? Because I know it's like that after that fight, and they had to do surgery, and...
I don't think so. I think it's as fixed as it's going to get. He's had that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I read something that it's like that because they had to do surgery and have to wait for it to heal to go back in to get it because it's so close to the eye that they don't want to mess with the vision. I think that had something to do with that. I might be totally wrong though.
And that was somebody kicked him in training. That was a training accident.
That sucks.
Did you remember his fight with Alan Belcher? He poked Belcher in the eye, which ended that fight, and Belcher hasn't fought since. Alan the Talent Belcher, who was a great fighter. I really thought he was gonna. I mean, he did well. But I thought he could have challenged for the title one day. He was a big middleweight, 6'3", black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Actually took Rousimar Paul Harris on the ground. Actually hung with Paul Harris. You know, got through all the leg locks and all that stuff and beat Paul Harris. You know, so. But anyway.
If you guys are just tuning into the Evil and Intoxicated, I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. ProWrestlingAuthority.com. We discussed so much today. There is so much news going on this week, and we discussed so much. Make sure to check out the podcast because we only have so much time and there's so much news. So check out Ted's show and my show. I'm on iTunes. You just type in Pro Wrestling Authority, and you'll see Pure Evil MMA. Go on YouTube. Just type in Ted Czech, and Ted Czech will pop up. What do you know?
What do you know? He's on YouTube. Oh my God!
And you guys should subscribe down below for weekly update webisodes that I do. Fighter interviews. I just talked with Lion Fight CEO Scott Kent. I talked with Angela Whitley, who will be fighting Jarena Bars, who has a win over Czech.Cyborg. That's going to be September 2nd at Foxwoods Casino. Or if you're not around here on the East Coast, of course, it's going to be on Access TV, live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm looking forward to that, man. I was just over there, and they put on a great fight. Of course, it's Muay Thai. We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
And they'll be back September 2nd, so looking forward to that. Also, UFC Fight Pass. Roger the Titan Corbin I talked with. He's going to be fighting on UFC Fight Pass for Glory 32 for the U.S. Armed Forces, U.S. Navy versus U.S. Air Force. Very, very excited about that. And I interviewed him. Find that down below. Ted, were you about to say something, boss?
Yeah, I was, Eddie.
Sorry, you got to get the tags in.
No problem, man. Totally understood. Absolutely, I was just kidding. No, I know you mentioned Lion Fight. I know a guy named Brad Mountain, who is he's a Muay Thai fighter, a kickboxer, Muay Thai fighter, former MMA fighter who made the transition to kickboxing and Muay Thai. I'd love to have him on the show. I interviewed him several years ago when he was fighting MMA, and since that time, like I said, he made the jump over to kickboxing. And this is a guy that wants to go all the way. He wants to get up to Glory or one of the top.
Why exactly would somebody want to do that? Can you explain that a little bit? Like why somebody would want to transition from MMA, which focuses on the ground as well, and Muay Thai, which does not focus on the ground at all.
Well, I mean, I think we're kind of getting into a new era here.
We definitely are.
Fighters are kind of jumping back and forth. They're realizing, hey, my kickboxing is up to a certain level that I can hang with some professional kickboxers, and then they can still, jump back and forth and maximize their money-making ability. I mean, look at Bellator. Bellator established Bellator kickboxing, right?
Yes.
They got Bellator MMA and they got Bellator kickboxing, and they're going to take some of the Bellator fighters, the good ones that are the guys that are good, men and women who are good in kickboxing, and bring them over to Bellator kickboxing.
And of course, I saw that with Schilling, of course.
Yeah, Joe Schilling has done that. Let's see. There's a ton. There's a lot of fighters that are doing it. We're seeing it more and more.
So why would they do it though?
Well, maybe it's for the challenge, and then also just the opportunity. Like maybe they can't get an MMA fight right away, but they're fresh and they're healthy. They want to fight. They want to stay busy. They want to make money, and so they'll take the first fight that comes their way, whether it's MMA, whether it's kickboxing. Chai Lewis Perry, who is he's a training partner. He's with AKA, so he's a training partner of Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold and Cain Velasquez. He's a Glory fighter, but he's also fought in MMA, and he said, hey, you know what? I wouldn't be opposed to going over to the UFC at some point. And with the great record that AKA fighters have, I'd say that road is pretty well paved for Chai Lewis Perry. So we're seeing more and more of this transition, this crossover in the sports. And I think it's just fighters wanting to make money and wanting to stay busy, and that's great.
Well, I don't know what's going on, Ted. I'm going to try to give him one more call. I sent out 2 emails just now, so I don't know what's really going on. I'm going to bring everybody with me really quick that's watching into my computer, and we're going to take a quick journey. We'll be back, Ted. Don't go anywhere, Ted. Don't leave us.
Right here.
Don't leave us.
All
right, guys, let's go take a quick ride and visit Nick Newell. See what's going on. This is what's going on, guys. All right. I have his information here. Boom. Okay. There's Nick Newell. Let's try to give him a call. Hold on, Ted. And it's getting declined. But it's saying that he's by his computer. So I'm not getting it. I don't understand what's going on right now. So we're going to have to try to set something else up sometime soon. Let's resume our call with Ted Czech. What a crazy face we just saw. Ted,
what?
Your face froze like this on the...
Oh, yeah? Sorry about that.
And it came back into it. It was all crazy. So we just tried calling Nick Newell, and it didn't go through. Every time I call, it gets denied. He's not accepting. And I'm sure it's innocent. I'm sure he's not avoiding us or anything. I'm sure maybe... I hope nothing bad happened. So we're going to have to recheck in with him and reschedule this. We can talk for about 5 more minutes to try to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work out this weekend or this week, we got to do it, man. We got to get him on. You know, it's very important. I think it's going to be a great interview when it happens. You know, so I'm.
And hopefully I'm going to hear a little doot 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 doot, and it's going to be Nick.
All right.
Hopefully we hear that in a second. Doot 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 doot.
That's very good. That's very good, Eddie.
Was that on point?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But mine is a little different. Mine is.
Oh, you have a different ringtone on Skype?
I don't know. How do you adjust your ringtone?
I don't know. I'm not pretty sure.
I want a duck. I want a quack quack. That's what I want. I used to have my old cell phone had the duck. I could choose the duck.
So all right, since Nick's not here, let's get into our weekly poll, which I asked everybody. Do you think a 2-year suspension is too harsh of a punishment? And of course, we do not know all the information on this, but whether we're just gonna try to give our most honest answer on this. Just roughly, not saying it's towards any specific fighter, but is 2 years a rough punishment for what Chad Mendes has failed for? And do we even know what he failed for?
I can't remember exactly.
It's like GHB6 or something crazy like that.
Oh, human growth hormone?
I think it was that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I think it was GH something.
And it's like, Ted, nice crazy.
Oh, it's GHRP6. It's a growth hormone. And you know what? Chad Mendes is 31 years old. So he wouldn't be able to return until June 10th, 2018, dude.
Yeah.
He's 17-4. He's been in the UFC for 5 years now. He trains over at Team Alpha Male,
right,
of course. And his last fight was, of course, Frankie Edgar. And he was doing so well when he first came into the UFC, man. He was doing great. And then, of course, the fight with Jose Aldo. And then all of a sudden, he just gets poof with that knee. Remember that knee?
Right.
Dropped him. Yep. Finally got a chance to redeem himself again. Lost. Then steps up to UFC 189. Jose Aldo's out. Chad Mendes, it's your chance, bro. Second round knockout done.
Conor
Frankie
McGregor.
Edgar, here's your chance, man. If you beat Frankie Edgar, we're going to give you another chance at it. Boom. Knocked out. First round by Frankie Edgar.
Yep.
All right, what's going on? Chad Mendes, what can we expect from you? Oh, you know, and then he fails the PED test for 2 years. So now, guys, he's not going to be able to come back till June 10th, 2018. What do you guys think? Is that a harsh punishment?
I don't think it is. I think it should be the norm, actually, because you know,
depending on what it is, obviously.
Well, they need to make it clear that this is, you know, the punishment needs to be severe in order to deter people from doing these things. If the UFC really wants a level playing field, all the athletic commissions and it's the commissions of boxing association or whatever that's actually another governing organization that makes the rules and all that stuff. If everybody is on the same page, they want a level playing field, this is what needs to be done. I applaud the UFC for getting USADA involved, and it seems like they're doing a good job. You know, surprising fighters.
They really are, man.
Surprise! You know, time to pee or take your blood or whatever.
There's a lot of people out there that are really happy and impressed with, you know, how they've really been breaking down, taking this seriously. Because you can really hurt someone in there. If I heard that what Lesnar tested positive for increases testosterone by 50%.
Oh, beyond the estrogen blocker?
I think so. I think that's what I read.
Okay. Well, yeah. But back to your question about the 2 years. Yeah, I think it needs to be severe to really get these fighters to think about it. You know what I mean? The excuse of, well, I didn't know what I was taking was banned. No, you need to know. It's your body. It's your body. You know what I mean? It's like you just
definitely.
If somebody just says, "Here, take this," you don't take that. You know, if you don't know what it is, or like the Anderson Silva. Well, it was a blue vial from Thailand because I wanted to increase my my sexual prowess in the bedroom with the wife. Get out of here! I mean, come on. You know what I mean? You have to keep track of what you put into your body, 100%. So it's got to be a severe punishment in order to get fighters to think about it, like, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Well, there's no reason why, there's no reason why they should be doing anything at all and not know, like, time and time again, the John Bones thing. He keeps getting in trouble after trouble. Like, dude, did you really not think you were going to get caught? Everyone's, like, got their eye on you. Whether you're speeding, drag racing, you got to be careful and know what you're doing. You're under contract with the UFC. Come on.
Yeah, I think it was a gamble. It's a roll of the dice.
Is it worth it? Is it worth getting kicked out for 2 years?
I guess for some, if that becomes the norm, maybe that will be enough to convince people. And the way that USADA is just like, like I just read about Demetrius Johnson surprised again while gaming. I guess.
Oh, really? While he was on Twitch?
Yeah. And now he's probably just on Twitch all the time. Like,
he's probably just on Twitch all the time. So.
Right. At first you might think, wow, what are the chances they would get?
This dude's chilling playing video games.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I mean, they're coming to your house at 4 a.m. unannounced or whatever. So it has to be enough to convince fighters. I think prior to this, where we heard, people were saying, 80%, 85%, whatever. Prior to USADA, it was a roll of the dice, but it was like, you know what, it's worth it. There's a good chance I won't get caught. Now, things are different.
And now people are hiding under their cages. Allegedly, John Bones Jones hid under his octagon for 6 hours.
That's the rumor. That is
6 hours hidden under there.
I did a video on that when that rumor first came out. It was like 2 years ago. That was actually, I think that was pre-USADA. It was an athletic commission that came to test him, I believe, or maybe it was USADA. I can't remember. But that was 2 years ago when that rumor came out, and Chael Sonnen brought it up again. Now, now that John Jones is. Now they failed the test, he brought it up again. And I haven't listened to this yet, but Chael had Malky Kawa, that's John Jones's manager. You remember when John Jones had his press conference, his teary-eyed press conference?
Yeah, yep.
There was a woman that was there, that she's some type of PR person for him, and then there was a dude sitting on the other side of him.
Yeah.
That's Malky Kawa, that's his manager.
Yep.
So Chael Sonnen had Kawa on his show, and apparently it got pretty heated. Although
Callan Hurd?
No, Malky Kawa.
It was on whose show?
Was on Chael Sonnen's show.
Chael's show. Okay.
Sorry, Chael Sonnen has his own podcast.
Yeah,
called Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I've got to listen to that. Apparently it got really heated between the two of them.
What do you think of Chael being a commentator? Of course, Joe Rogan said that he was going to leave the UFC if they ever did decide to sell. Now they sold. Is Joe Rogan going to be leaving the UFC, Ted? I would hate to see that, man.
No, the word was that Dana White was going to stay on and Joe Rogan was going to stay on. So
all right. Because, I wouldn't mind Chael. Of course, he's the commentator over at World Series of Fighting. I love his podcast. He was just on Fighter and the Kid. I wouldn't mind bringing him over, but no one can really replace Joe Rogan. If Joe Rogan ever left, Dana and Rogan are the UFC. The fighters go in and out, but Dana and Joe add so much to the comfortable, familiar comeback. When you come back, visit you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I mean, Dana White has made himself the face of the organization.
You might hate him, you might love him, but he's definitely the top thing you think of when you think of the UFC.
But should you? That's the question. Should you think of Dana White? Because if you take away the fighters, like this discussion reared up several months ago when Lorenzo Fertitta said that the production was the most important thing about the UFC. And so my question was, well, if you take away the fighters, what do you have? You got a cage.
Well, yeah, definitely. But you also need people to help promote that, like the Joe Schillings thing. We had amazing fighters that night, but it wasn't promoted, and that might have affected the viewership. But you're definitely right. It's about the fighters for sure.
Right, because no one is going to come to watch an empty cage in the middle of an arena.
Yeah.
You need the fighters.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I just talked with Art Davey. He just wished me happy birthday, and I just talked to him the other night because he said he would be coming on the show. And he's actually going on vacation right now, and when he gets back, he'll be talking with me. And he said he's had some pretty good news to share. And also, guys, Paul Felder was just on Cage Side Submissions and was talking about how he was over in Dublin and somebody peed on his shoe. You can check that out on Cage Side Submissions. Just type that in on iTunes.
Wait, who peed on whose shoe?
Paul Felder was over in Dublin, Ireland. He was at a bar, right? And he went into the restroom to use the bathroom. And so the dude came in belligerent. And over there, you know, it's not like it is over here when you go into the men's bathroom where we kind of have a little privacy. It's apparently like a long tub.
Like a trough.
Yeah, like a long thing. The dude came in there and just pissed all over Paul Felder's shoe. And then he was like, what the hell? And then the following night, it almost happened again with the same guy.
What? Get out of here. Some guy swinging it around like a fire hose?
Yeah, and Paul Felder got real mad. You guys can check out this interview. It's on Cage Side Submissions. It's live every Sunday night between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It's always a blast. Steve Reichel always has amazing fighters on. And Rachel Blaze, who really needs our help right now, guys. She's not doing so well. Backing out, in and out of the hospital. Her GoFundMe page is up. I will be sharing that on my Twitter page. So find me on Twitter at evil_echo, and let's help a fellow MMA girl out here. But yeah, man, so much news. There's so much going on, and like you would say, it's a great time to be an MMA fan.
It's a great day to be an MMA fan.
Love that.
I have to get back to Paul Felder for just a second. I've talked with Paul Felder. He's a very level-headed guy. Thank God, because he could have leveled that guy that came in there with the fire hose, with his fire hose dick. You know what I'm saying? Paul, he's a UFC fighter, incredibly skilled, striker. He could have just knocked that guy out without any problem.
In a second.
I'm surprised he didn't. A lot of people would have.
Yeah, man, you got to check out that interview. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
My God.
It was podcast gold. It really was.
Wow. Paul Felder, that guy's an actor too. For those who don't know, he's a trained theater actor. So I wouldn't be surprised if if after his MMA career he dabbled in Hollywood as well, because that guy's got some chops. I mean, I interviewed him several years ago before he made it to the UFC.
Yeah, you were telling me that, man. Yeah.
Yep, and he was doing a theater production in Philadelphia where he lives, where he grew up. So I would love that for him. If he after he got through with his MMA career, if he made the jump to Hollywood or something like that.
Yeah, like I said, Steve from Cage Side Submissions was just talking to him, and we're trying to get him to come on to Pure Evil MMA. So hopefully that will be next week's podcast. Supposed to be getting a hold of him. I was supposed to be getting a hold of him today or tomorrow. So fingers are crossed on my side. Hopefully that will be next week's podcast for everybody on iTunes and PodBean.com. Ted, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to bring everybody with me one last time into my computer. So stay put, bro.
All right, I'm right here.
Stay put. All right, guys, let's take a ride. A ride into my computer. There's Ted making weird faces again. All right, let's see. And let's see what's going on with Nick Newell. And of course, he was supposed to be on at 10:40. Is now almost an hour later. Let's give him a quick call. And it keeps getting denied. I do not know what's going on over here. That one lasts a little longer. Is that too much? One more time? No, not having it. I don't know. I don't think he's denying my call, but I can't get a hold of him. So let's find out what's going on with Ted. Check. Look at that. Look at that guy. What a guy. Look at this guy. What a guy. There he is. We do not have Nick Newell with us. So hopefully next week or we definitely have to talk to him because there's so much to talk about. I was very inspired by his story, man, and definitely looking forward to his movie. Of course, he lived right here in West Haven, Connecticut. I'm in the city right here in New Haven, Connecticut. And it's no joke out here, so I hope he's okay, man. This is the third most dangerous city in America. So I hope he made it home from the gym. Of course, he was at the gym tonight. I was supposed to go there. So now I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not doing that.
I don't think Nick has anything to worry about. I mean...
Yeah, you're right. MMA justice, like we say.
That's right. Hey, listen, maybe, Eddie, maybe just maybe this is a sign. Because remember, one of our plans was that you would go to his gym since you live so close.
Maybe it is a sign.
And do the Skype, the two of you together. right? And then bring me on board.
Every morning when I go to my doctor, man, it's on the line of West Haven. We got to make that happen. Of course, let's set that up for next week then, because we got to end this show. We had so much to talk about. It's great. I don't want to drag things out or beat a dead horse on any subject. I think we covered everything we needed to cover. We'll get in touch with Nick Newell. But if you tuned in late, guys, do not worry. This video will be back up on YouTube. It will be on Pure Evil MMA. And, of course, Ted puts it on his. I'll be breaking the videos down in segments. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, ProWrestling30.com. Let's just recap really quick in 2 minutes what was on today's episode, that if anyone tuned in late so they can rewind and go find it. We did our 5 minute rounds. We discussed Cyborg's injury. That's a rough one. We wanted to know, what you guys thought about. We want to know what you guys think about all this.
Everything.
Oh, we talked about Jones, latest news with him, 2 different types of blockers. Did we mention his tweets though? We didn't mention his tweets that he sent out.
We didn't really talk about that. Yeah, that he was saying he was gonna. He was trying to say he was some type of victim. A victim of his own ignorance. I think is what
victim of his own ignorance. I like that.
You
come up with some good one-liners, dog.
No, he said it.
He said he's a victim of his.
I believe he did. I mean, I hope I'm not misquoting him. But I mean, his tweets are up for those who want to look at it to get the exact wording. I would advise people to look at his Twitter. I don't think he's deleted any of those. But yeah, because he kind of did like a little bit of a Q&A. People were tweeting at him. He was tweeting back.
He's always doing that too. He's pretty good with that. And that could work for you or against you at times.
Right. Because I don't know if Malky Kawa was standing over his shoulder, kind of coaching him on what to say and what not to say.
That's true too.
But yeah, we also talked about Brock Lesnar.
We talked about Brock Lesnar. His B sample came back. He failed that test. Mark Hunt wants half the purse or is leaving the UFC. Crazy things going on. We talked about Risen, 16-man tournament. Who's going to be in that tournament? Really quick, Ted.
Wanderlei Silva, Mirko Cro Cop, maybe Rampage Jackson, and also
Maybe Fedor. Who knows?
Maybe
we
Fedor,
talked about that as well on the show. Rory McDonald, pros and cons of staying and leaving with the UFC we talked about. And then, guys, a quick MMA news update. Jim Miller versus Joe Lozon, too. That's going to be a banger. Cannot wait for that. And, of course, that goes with Fight of the Year. What do you guys think is Fight of the Year? UFC poll, Pure Evil MMA. Evil and Intoxicated wants to know, what is Fight of the Year? We had some pretty good ones between Rory McDonald, Stephen Thompson. We had Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit, Stefan Struve versus Bigfoot, Cody No-Love versus Thomas Almeida, Bisping versus Rockhold, Bisping versus Silva. You had a couple, Boss versus McDonald.
Yep.
Crazy fights. What do you guys think? We covered it all. We like to try to cover it all. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. Subscribe down below. Ted, thank you so much for tuning in. Where can everybody find you, though, boss?
I'm at TEDCZECH on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Hit me up.
All right. So thank you guys again. This has been Evil Intoxicated. Subscribe down below, and we will see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.